Hello, you're listening to ReedyGeeks, a Walt Disney World podcast. My name is Andrew, and I'm joined today by dim sum influencer JJ.
Amen. I'm into that.
Jesus Christ.
Well, he really likes dim sum.
Well, no, I want the China Pavilion to have dim sum instead of like a sit down Panda Express.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, and right beside me is the head Imagineer of the new Oppenheimer attraction, Sean.
I don't even remember talking about that.
Well, we were gonna put insert IP into Mission Space by getting Interstellar, and then he said, "Let's just buy all of Nolan's stuff and make an Oppenheimer ride."
I stand by it. Yeah. Even you can experience the Trinity test.
If you have a good title for my co-host after listening to this episode, please send in your ideas to ReedyGeeks@gmail.com. In today's episode, the Geeks share some overlooked aspects of Walt Disney World that we would like to revisit. Walt Disney World is massive. So massive that even the most dedicated Disney fans, including us, can't possibly experience everything it has to offer in just a few trips. Sometimes we get stuck in our routines, walking past attractions, restaurants, or experiences without giving them a second thought. Whether it's an attraction we've skipped, a restaurant we've ignored, or an experience that we haven't given a fair shot, today we're taking a second look at the things we've missed or dismissed. So let's dive in.
Okay.
Did that in one shot to the listener. You don't know how rare that is.
That was good.
Yeah.
I like that intro.
Hang the banner.
Yeah.
Hang the banner. Andrew did it. Today we're going to be talking about some things in the property, on Disney property, that we have overlooked our last couple of trips, and we would like to get back to. Whether maybe we didn't like it the first time, or want to retry it,
or some stuff is like stuff that you think that maybe, I waited a really long time for it. I didn't think it was worth it, but maybe you need to give it a fair shake when you're not waiting on a super long line for it. Or maybe it's something you've just always walked past and never tried, and you're like, you know what, it's time.
Yeah. A couple of things too, like I've thought like, oh, this is a one and done thing. Like, I don't need to ever do this again. And then like after a couple of years, yeah, okay, I can do it again.
Let me try it again.
Yeah,
and you go, you know what?
Nope, still bad.
Well, you develop a different appreciation for things as you get older, or your tastes change, or things like that. So in our previous episode, Sean told us that he went to Sanaa for the first time, and that's something that he may not have done when he was younger, or, because he's a picky eater, and that's a different type of culinary experience.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, I don't know, we're talking about those types of things, things that you've overlooked in the past, and maybe you want to try again. Right?
You know what? I'll just get started. And I'm going to take us to a little park called Disney's Hollywood Studios. And I actually got two things, because I really kind of ignore Echo Lake. Apologies to Gertie. She's an icon. But that whole area, like, I'm just not often drawn into that spot. I'm like, Hollywood Studios is just like all about the rides for me. And then like when I do get a break, it's like based on Tap House, grab a beer.
Right.
I want to try the Tune-In Lounge. I've been in there before. It's a nice space, but I've never, enjoyed it.
Where is that again? I don't think I've ever been in here.
The Tune-In Lounge?
Yeah.
It's connected to the 50s Primetime Cafe, which is the restaurant where they razz you.
Drive-in.
No, different one.
What am I thinking of?
You're thinking of the Sci-Fi Diner.
Sci-Fi, that's what I'm thinking of. That's why.
The 50s Primetime Cafe is like the waiters and waitresses.
Oh, no, not a diner.
They razz you if you don't finish your vegetables or something like that.
Oh, it's is that Dick's Last Resort?
No, it's not mean though.
Well, sure, but it's that.
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of. Where,
And it's supposed
They're
to
be a
playing
little. They're going to be a little
character.
crass to you. They're going to be a little sarcastic.
Yeah, they're gonna tell the kids, you gotta eat your vegetables. You're not gonna finish this. What are you doing? That type
Right.
of thing.
Yeah.
And every room is themed to a 50s kitchen, like your home kitchen in the 50s, your dining room in the 50s.
Yeah, so it's like you're going to your aunt's house and she's made you dinner.
Yes.
Is like the
It's
premise
just
of it.
like a casual dining experience.
It's
No,
table
sit down.
service.
No, but like, right,
but
but
it's
like
not
it's,
a nice.
Yeah,
it's not
like
super
burgers
nice.
and
It's
sandwiches and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like
Gotcha.
very 50s stores.
Never,
It's like
I've never been there.
it's like burgers and meatloaf and like it's very much like
Yeah.
50s food.
Actually, and I've gone to the Primetime Cafe a bunch of times. I'm sorry, I've gone to the Tune-In Lounge a bunch of times, but I haven't been to the Primetime since I was young, and it probably scarred me. Like, that's something I should try again.
The Primetime Cafe I went to. It's probably the last time I went to the Tune-In Lounge was the last time I went to
Yeah.
the Primetime Cafe, which I'm not a big fan of. It's just very average and like when you're at a hot theme park day, I don't really want like 1950s comfort food. Like I don't want a big like meatloaf dinner
Right.
or like a chicken pot pie or something. Like no,
Yeah.
it's not the proper venue for it.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with either of those foods. They're great. So I definitely want to revisit Tune-In Lounge, and I also think it's time for me to revisit Star Tours because, you know, it's one of those rides. Every time I've been on it, it's just my enjoyment has been getting less and less. And now with Monstropolis coming in, I think its days are numbered.
The writing's on the wall.
And maybe I should get a couple rides in before it is also on the chopping block.
I don't know what they were thinking about not using that area to be an
expansion
pad for Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Well,
Yeah.
oh, you mean
Monstropolis, like not having Monstropolis, but instead having Star
Putting
Wars there.
Monstropolis
where the Muppets?
where the Muppets
area
is instead of saving that for an expansion to Star Wars Land.
Well, I think
And bringing Star Wars Land all the way down to where Star Tours is.
Right.
Well, that's what I think that there certainly is a chance where eventually the entrance to Batuu gets moved out.
Yeah, but I don't
can't.
think anymore now.
They're spending so much to build Monstropolis. They're gonna
Right
You
in
think
that
that
spot.
area is going to be completely
It's
like they're going to change the pathways of how you get around over there?
I mean, if not, you'd have to take out the buildings of Baseline in order to like frame it so that
redirected
Yeah.
so that Monstropolis could fit in between areas of Star Wars Land.
Yeah.
So we're suddenly determining how they're going to build around the Baseline Tap House.
Well, it must be preserved at all costs.
It's a load-bearing bar in Hollywood studios.
Must be preserved.
No, I don't think Galaxy's Edge in either park is going to get an expansion for a very long time.
Yeah.
No.
Well, there's a lot-
I don't want to say if ever. I'm sure eventually they'll put another ride or something because they're not done making these movies or these shows. But a true expansion, I would say 6 to 10 years.
Yeah, and they might be able to do an internal expansion.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, they could go towards the Galaxy Star Cruiser, aka the Imagineering offices.
I was going to say, which is now going to be office buildings. What an absolute joke.
Yeah. All right.
Coolest
well,
office building I've ever seen, though.
Sean, why don't you bring us to one of your?
So I went kind of a different route, rather than things that you've experienced in the parks before that you may want to do again. I kind of went outside the parks, things that are things you might have done or things you want to do that don't really have to do with being necessarily inside the park. My first one is really any kind of recreational activity that you are doing outside, specifically outside the park. I have played golf in Disney World, and I've had a blast doing so. There's 4 or 5 courses, most of them very well playable for people of any skill level. Disney has a couple mini golf courses, and at most of the resorts, and especially the resorts on water, you can rent bikes and boats. Just thinking of things that I've specifically done on trips before that I haven't done in forever because it's been a long time since I've taken probably a long enough trip to justify carving out 5 hours or so to play a round of golf or half an afternoon to rent like a pontoon boat with your family. You go on a 3 or 4 day trip, you're not really thinking about anything other than going to the parks. But
Right.
on longer trips where you're going to have a resort day, you're building in at least 1 or 2. You're going to have a Springs day. things that you're not necessarily thinking of doing. There's lots of things you can do at the resort that aren't necessarily park related, and a lot of them can be found when you get in your hotel room. There's vouchers to play mini golf. There's things that they'll take you to right to the gate of the mini golf course, and there's just a lot to do that you don't think of that doesn't have to do with parks.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. That's really good, and actually, it's one of mine too. I put on there was mini golf in general. Wanted to do mini golf, but to add on to that, I've always wanted to do the foot golf.
Foot golf, yeah.
Yeah, so at the Shades of Green golf course, what is that called? Magnolia
and Palm are the two there.
Okay, so at Magnolia or Palm, one of those, they have a foot golf course, which is combines soccer and golf. So you're kicking a soccer ball into like
a target.
A target
that's far away.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to try that. That's something really different.
Yeah,
it's like that seems fun.
Yeah, it's like an evolution of the frisbee golf thing.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you too on like getting one of the boats or something like that. We've talked about that on previous episodes. Those pontoon boats.
I've rented boats 2 times on Bay Lake, and if you rent a boat at Bay Lake over at the Contemporary, you can take it through the canal that the ferry boats go through and you can go into Bay Lake. So they let you go through as long as you keep your wake. They let you go through the passage only for the ferry boats, and you can take it from Contemporary and circle around the Polynesian, the Grand Floridian. So it's a really cool.
That's cool.
A vantage point that you almost never will get any other time unless you are taking the Ticket Transportation Center ferry over to the Magic Kingdom.
I've done once before with they used to have small boats, like small speed boats.
I've done both. I've done the 2-seater boat, and then I've done the larger pontoon with the family.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm going to throw in there, too, the water parks. I don't know if
I didn't even think of those.
I've never been at a Disney World water park.
I haven't been in 15, 20 years.
I've been to Blizzard Beach, I think. I've never been to Typhoon Lagoon.
I've been to both.
I've been to Blizzard Beach twice. Wait, I think I've been to Typhoon Lagoon twice. Blizzard Beach is like the cooler one, the better one.
Blizzard Beach is themed like a blizzard.
I've never.
Typhoon Lagoon has the big shipwreck on the top of the thing.
I've been to Typhoon Lagoon twice. Never been to Blizzard Beach, but I think the last time I went to Typhoon Lagoon, I was 10.
Yeah, Blizzard Beach has the thing that Blizzard Beach has going for it is it has a what I would call a big kid slide.
Yep.
Where
it's a straight down.
It's one of those like almost straight down kind of. Like big drop slides.
Yeah.
And actually Disney, if you're staying on property, the day you show up, they let you go to the water park for free.
I was going to bring that
really?
up.
That's something that me and Sam are considering depending on what time we show up, how hot it is.
Yeah.
The next time we go, we're like, oh, maybe we should like check out one of these water parks.
That's cool.
And it actually makes it an idea of like, oh, maybe go the night before, get like a cheap hotel room somewhere, and so when you're arriving at Disney, you're arriving like early in the morning
to take advantage of having a full day at the water park.
Yeah. Because otherwise,
you stay
depending
at
on the
Motel
season,
6 in Jacksonville, and you leave at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Blizzard Beach to me screams like mid 90s.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is so 1995.
Yes.
It's insane.
Yeah. Typhoon Lagoon, I think, is kind of cool. It has the wave pool too.
It's more
the wave pool is what I remember.
It's more classic.
The concrete floor wave pool.
Yeah.
Definitely. My knees remember that.
Yeah, that'll leave a mark.
So, JJ, what's your number 2?
I'll do my number 2. Oh, jeez. Get your... Stop. This is a family podcast.
I'll do my number 2.
So we have to entertain the young kids because they just all laughed with Sean on
right.
that.
Number 2.
No matter how old you are,
how
jokes
bawdy
are always funny.
Okay, so my next overlooked item is weird because when this experience was in Hollywood Studios, I did it every time, and since it's left, I don't go to it, and that is. They have the Animation Academy that used to exist in the Animation Courtyard building that now is Star Wars Launch Bay. They used to have a whole place where Disney artists would teach you how to draw little sketches of the characters. And every half hour, it would be a different character, and it would just run all day. And that exists in Animal Kingdom at Rafiki's Planet Watch.
Yeah.
And I never take that train up there.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, you just think like, oh, it's just a goat petting zoo. But it's not. Because I get to do the thing that I love doing. It's like my favorite thing to kill time at Hollywood Studios. That isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
And now it's at Animal Kingdom, and I haven't gone back. So it's like I'm well past due to go there.
Yeah.
Oh, they also offer that at Art of Animation in the lobby. They run
That's
that.
Cool.
So if you were doing like a Skyliner crawl or something, it would be a good way. You pair getting a drink at the pool bar at Art of Animation, and you do that, and then you leave and you take the next stop over to, what is that, Caribbean Beach or Riviera? I don't know.
Caribbean Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. I like that one. I've never done that either. Have you done that, Sean?
I've never done that. Is that where Uncle Joey goes in the Full House episode of...
Yes.
Ooh.
Uncle Joey does go to the animation courtyard.
That was a pretty good
Good
reference.
callback.
Good
There.
callback. All right, Sean, number 2.
The next thing on my list actually is something that, depending on which one you do, could be in a park or not in a park. But I think one of the things that are overlooked, and maybe not necessarily because you have done them and don't want to do it again, I think maybe these kinds of things get overlooked because, number one, the cost of them, and number two, a lot of them are significant time commitments, and these are tours. I think that taking a tour at Disney World is something that everyone there's different ones. I think there's at least one in every single park, and I could be wrong, but I think there are tours that exist outside the parks that take you around the resort. I don't know that for sure, but there's at least one tour in every park, and I think that they're worth everybody's time. Again, it's all about your budget. I know the Animal Kingdom one is incredibly expensive, but I have heard that if you're willing to pay the money for it, it's incredibly
Which one?
the one in Animal Kingdom.
The Savor the
Savannah is one of the that's one of my bucket list experience.
I think that's one of the
ones.
cheaper ones.
No, there's one where they take you basically into the safari. It's like a private safari tour.
Yeah. I did that with
did
Emily
this.
in 2018.
It was
Savor the Savannah sounds like a food thing.
It was.
It was a food-
You would go on a tour of the Savannah, and then they brought you to an observation location
At the lodge or at the park?
at the park.
They have one that's more expensive.
Yeah.
At that is in the safari as well. They take you on a safari tour, and then it's like adventuring where you like.
Do you get to get out?
Yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
They take you
and there's
across
times when-
like the crocodile thing. You like
Wild Africa Trek.
Wild Africa trip.
That's what
and
it
they
is.
like you don't zip line, but like they make you like you
You
wear
go
a
across the bridge
harness
like
and you
that.
walk across these
Like this.
rope bridges and stuff.
Yeah.
And that one is more pricey.
It's per person it's $229.
Yeah, and it doesn't include your park ticket.
Right.
So you got to buy a park ticket. and then
that's
buy
an
that.
expensive day.
That's a
That's
bucket
an
list
expensive
item.
day. Yeah.
That or VIP for just double.
Yeah, just double the
Just
cost.
double that. Just double it. Just double it one time, and you get to go to 4 parks, and you can ride Stuff to Be a Bug as many times as you want.
Well, Sean, I think that's a good idea, though. It's a good bucket list item to try out one time.
Yeah. I've taken a tour. I did the Keys to the Kingdom tour. I would do it again. It's been a while since I've taken it, but I think tours are definitely worth your at least looking into. If you're on a long enough trip and you have an afternoon where you can carve out 3 or 4 hours, or maybe more, depending on the tour. I think Keys to the Kingdom is 5 hours. Worth it.
And some of them aren't that expensive. The Behind the Seeds tour, like this, that probably should have been on my list because it's so high on something that I want to try. And basically, they just take you into the greenhouse. It's just a longer version of Living with the Land.
Yeah.
But sounds fun.
And they, I think that is cheaper. It's like $30 or $60.
Yeah, it's less than 50.
Yeah.
30 or $40, I believe.
Wait a minute. I love that idea.
Okay, Andrew, what about your next your next overlooked item?
So my next overlooked item is going to be at the resorts. And I think that people, when they check into the resort, don't realize how many activities are there at the resort for you to do for free. Some of them you might have to pay a little bit extra for. Like they always have tie-dyeing for kids, or painting classes where they'll give you a like ceramic castle, and then you paint the castle the way you want to paint, and they show you like, you know, what paint colors to use, but you have to buy the castle from them, the ceramic castle. But usually these are, you know, nominal costs, you know, like they're not very expensive. But there's a lot of free things to do at the resorts. Like almost every resort has a movie that they play every night.
Yep.
For kids.
S'mores.
Yep.
And then there are some upcharged ones. I know one that I want to do is at Animal Kingdom Lodge. They do you can get like night vision goggles and go into the safari area.
Yep.
But that is an upcharge. And there's also what you've said this on a pod before about Wilderness Lodge, the park rangers, right?
Yes. So my dad found a park ranger. They, you know, it's show up at, you know, 9 a.m. at this location, and the park ranger will take you on a tour, right? And so he takes you on a tour around the Wilderness Lodge and points out all the architecture, what everything means, you know, what everything stands for and everything like that, and you know what's based on. It's my dad really liked it. He went to him 2 days in a row.
That's awesome.
So you know, there's a lot of things that you could do at the resort, and all you have to do is go to the lobby, and they usually have printed out schedules. Printed out schedules.
And I brought that up too at the Art of Animation, the Animation Academy they do.
Yeah.
It is a very much overlooked perk. Everyone thinks that, you know, it's just like, oh, this is a well-themed hotel with a nice pool at Disney, but they're doing other stuff too.
Yeah, and hopefully they don't get rid of that, because I feel like a lot of that came about because, you know, they wanted you to stay for like 3 or 4 days or 5 days, but there was only 2 parks, you know, Magic Kingdom and Epcot. And then now, since like the 90s, we now have 4 parks, and
it does seem like something that seems easy to cut. And
it seems in my experience from resort hopping, the resorts that offer the most specifically activities like for kids are like the deluxe resorts.
That's true.
You know, they're not offering a ton of things for kids to do at Pop Century or at, you know, Port Orleans, but like I have been to the Polynesian at about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, and they have outdoor lawn games, giant chess and checkers and can jam and cornhole and fountains going off, and it's basically every kid that's staying in the hotel is out playing, and the parents are basically having drinks, and everyone's having a good time. But you don't see that at the other hotels, maybe because they don't have the space, or maybe they just want to make sure the people that are staying there are, you know, getting their money's worth because they're traveling with the kids. But and
a lot of that also is occurs at DVC resorts too. Like the Boardwalk and Old Key West. I think a couple others have community halls where you go there and there'll be a cast member there during the day that will pretty much like play with your kid. Yeah. Right. And, you know, there'll be like video games that they could play, foosball, pool. There'll be like different scheduled events like tie-dye and stuff like that.
I vividly remember, and there's a picture of it somewhere, when we got to Old Key West on the trip we took. We were there so early that we couldn't check in. There was nothing to do. We sat in like they had a room like that. It was like a community room, and there were like chess tables and checkerboards. And like, we were playing like board games at 9 o'clock in the morning in our sweatpants because we had just pulled up.
We had
to wait till 3 o'clock to check in.
Yeah.
All
right, JJ, how about number 3?
Okay, so my next one, I'm going to Epcot. There's a theme in mine.
Parks.
I'm going to each park.
Whoa.
It's a place that I think in the past was in a more convenient spot, and then it went away, and it's now back. Club Cool.
Nice.
Club Cool, interesting place. Try some sodas from around the world. Maybe trick a friend into drinking Beverly.
The Beverly. That's from what? That's from Italy?
Yeah, Italy. But I don't think they drink it like a soda. I think it's like a mixer.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they treat it like this is a refreshing beverage.
I don't think I've ever had Beverly.
Well,
Well, next time
you got
go.
something on your list.
Yeah.
There's a soda that you can get there, and I'm gonna look it up now. I've sought it out at like grocery stores will have like international food aisles, and I'm gonna look it because there's one that I had at Club Cool that I remember buying at like ShopRite, looking for because I wanted it to drink it again so bad.
There's a cucumber Sprite
That
that's
might be
pretty
it.
good.
Honestly, that might be it.
And then there's also there's like a watermelon version of like a watermelon Fanta that people like. It's like drinking a watermelon Jolly Rancher.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
But yeah, it's all from around the world. It's like, oh, this is popular in India and this thing's popular in this country. So it's cool, and it fits the Epcot vibe of like you're going for a tour around the world, but with soda.
Inca Cola.
Inca Cola.
From Peru. Known as the taste of Peru, this soda has an unusually sweet, fruity flavor that many compare to the taste of liquid bubblegum. Yes, that's exactly what it was. The name Inca Cola refers to the... I'm not going to try to pronounce that word. Something word for king and queen. Inca Cola.
I gotta try it.
It's basically like drinking bubblegum.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
This is something, do they rotate them or is it always the same sodas?
I'm looking at a picture that I believe
think
is
it's the
from
same all
yeah,
the
it's
time,
always
right?
mostly the same. Because all these pictures are of the same man.
How many could there be?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 8 in the fountain.
I mean, have you seen a Coke Freestyle machine?
Oh, wait. There's 8? That's it?
No, it's
How
like
big is Club Cool?
It's not huge.
it's not a big spot.
It's
There's like 4 or 5 soda machines.
What Club Cool is a basically a gift shop for Coca-Cola.
Right.
Yes.
And it's an offshoot of what is available for you in Disney Springs, the big Coca-Cola bar and whatever.
The rooftop bar.
Yeah.
Maybe that's on the list.
I don't know if the new iteration of Club Cool is still a Coca-Cola store.
Yes, it is.
But it was just always it was like basically the size of a gift shop you'd find at the end of a ride.
Yeah.
But it was all Coca-Cola merchandise, and in the middle they had like 3 or 4 little kiosks that had the sodas that were basically free, and you'd get little like bathroom cups.
It's right next to Connections Cafe now.
It used to be, I think, over where.
It was on the other side.
Yeah, it was on the exact opposite side.
Yeah, it was on the other side. It was more by the Imagination Pavilion.
Imagination Pavilion, yeah.
Yeah, and this one is more by like Mission Space and Test Track now. Yeah.
Club Cool.
Club Cool.
It is cool.
I think I'll take one of those newfangled trolleys down to the drugstore soda fountain and meet the boys for a cold sarsaparilla.
Okay, Sean, how about your next one?
Well, my next one is my last one on the list, but something, again, could be in a park, could be out of a park, and it's something that you could be overlooking because of timing and because of budgetary constraints, and we just, piggybacking off the episode we just did about eating, I think that something that is I love to do when I can is take time to have a very nice dinner.
Yeah.
You know, you're not necessarily just eating in a park or eating just at your hotel. Taking time to make a plan to have a night where you go out to a really nice restaurant at Disney. There's no shortage of them. You know, go back to your hotel, get some nice clothes on, and go out and have an actual nice dinner out. Break yourself out of the parks, break yourself out of the craziness of the Disney atmosphere. Just have a nice dinner at one of the resorts or at a nice restaurant down at Springs. I think that's an overlooked, air quotes, overlooked thing, mostly because of how busy and crazy people's schedules usually are at the parks. And again, it could be an expensive night, and depending how much money you've already spent on your weekend or your trip. But an overlooked air quotes thing, I think for me, is taking some time to enjoy some of the much nicer restaurants that Disney has to offer.
I think that's a really good point especially about going home and like showering and getting all like dressed up type of thing, like putting on not your not your touring clothes, not your theme
taking
park
off the Hakuna
clothes.
Matata shirt.
Right.
Yeah.
Your most expensive day ever shirt.
Yeah. Taking that moisture wicking polo shirt off.
That's exactly what it is.
Put it on an actual nice dress shirt.
Put on your good moisture wicking polo.
Oh, that's funny.
Calm down, Rover. I was only kidding.
Okay, Andrew, how about your next one?
Okay, so mine is going to be another one for the kids, the Play Disney app. I feel like Disney was really pushing the Play Disney app. It's games for you to play while you're waiting online for the rides.
And little Easter eggs too, right? Like around Epcot, right? They've got, is it like a DuckTales thing, right?
Yeah,
now?
yes, yep.
And it was at one point Phineas and Ferb, and then before that, Kim
Possible.
Possible.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all things like that. That's pretty cool. It has some trivia games, has some matching games, has like almost arcade games on it sometimes. So it's unique for every line that you're in too, which is nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that I kind of would like to go back and check. That'd be interesting. But to also include with that is. This is just with the app in general. The Play Disney app is different than the My Disney Experience app.
That was going to be my question. Is it in the My Disney app?
No, you have to download a whole new app, Play Disney app. But in the My Disney Experience app, and it was rolled out with Genie and Genie Plus. I wonder if they still have the walking tours in Genie, not Genie Plus. In Genie, they had these like you can. It'll tell you to turn it on in Fantasyland, and so you listen to, it was supposed to be you're listening to Imagineers talk about Fantasyland as you were going through it.
I didn't even know that existed. Yeah. And I feel like that's something that they very quickly would stop giving you for free.
That was
it seems like something that you would maybe for the day you pay $39 or $49
like when you
for
get
access to. And you could throw in your headphones or connect to your, put on your AirPods or put your headphones on when you get to this area of Tomorrowland, like Chapter 1. When you get to, it seems something they could very easily monetize, and I'd be surprised if it was still something they offered for free. That is cool though.
Like one of those guided tours of a museum.
But also because especially in the Magic Kingdom, so much of the Keys to the Kingdom tour is being taken around the park by a cast member and being told you walk around the park with headphones on.
The walk in Walt's footsteps is the same,
so that the cast member can talk kind of quietly. Also because there's people that have not paid for the tour, and also there's a lot of not wanting to kind of give away the magic, as they'll say, but they'll talk kind of quietly into their microphone, but you can listen to them. And so much of that tour is giving, kind of not giving away the secrets, but telling you the stuff about the Magic Kingdom that you don't know about.
Okay, so you were right. It was part of Genie Plus. That was the paid version, right? And it went away with the end of Genie Plus and the switching to Lightning Lane Multipass. It's not on the Lightning Lane Multipass, so I can't do it. I overlooked it, and now I can't do it.
Don't you hate that?
But it was...
Isn't there a song about that?
It was called Audio Tales, and it was inspired by Imagineering field guides.
Oh, cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, they should bring that back.
They should.
Rest in peace.
That is a cool... They should have Joe Rohde do it.
Yeah. All right, JJ.
Okay, this one is my last one. I've talked about all the other parks, and I'm going to talk about something. This one's going to be a little surprising for people. It's a ride that I don't go on every time that I go there because maybe not worth the line, but I feel like I'm going to rope drop it next time I go, and that's Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Okay.
I don't usually want to wait online for it. It's still one of the you have to buy individual Lightning Lane for it, so it's like, is it worth paying $15 a person to cut the line? Maybe not. But is it worth waiting an hour and a half? Definitely not. So I find myself kind of caught and not experiencing it as much as I should or would, because I think it's pretty good. I think it's better than Slinky Dog.
Yeah.
Anything to dig the knife into.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
I can go on record with my opinions on this ride again. I think this ride stinks.
I mean, I didn't think it was a very comfortable ride. It was a very small seat.
It was not designed very well for Americans, I feel like.
Even though it was
Say
designed,
what you really mean, Andrew.
even though it was designed in America for Americans to ride.
They did a poor job at that.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty small seat. I mean, they'll let anyone basically ride it. If the lap bar moves, they'll let you go. But yeah, it's a smaller seat.
Yeah.
So you feel a little claustrophobic in there.
Well, when you go on it again, sit in the back. You'll have a better. It's like you get whipped around a little bit more.
Oh yeah. Back row has always got a little more whip. Yeah. But yeah, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I think I'm gonna ride it again next time I go.
So true that like you don't want to spend so much time on it, but you don't want to spend money on it.
Right.
So
it's just
like,
kind of caught. You're just kind of caught in between. Like
Yeah.
I think it's better than a lot of the attractions there. Like my opinion of it isn't negative.
It's a ride that I wouldn't wait online for it. I would not even think about spending
Extra money.
$15 or $20 to ride it. It is a ride though that I would use a
regular
fast pass, a regular lightning lane.
So I wonder if in the future with by 2030 if we'll see that it's
Oh yeah, because it'll move off with the Villains Land stuff and the
Yeah, for
car
sure.
stuff. It won't be one of the featured like you have to pay extra to cut the line. It'll
Like I
fall
remember
into
back in
regular
the
Lightning
in the
Lane.
day of Fast Pass Plus, the parks were, and I guess they're sort of done this way still, I guess to an extent, but everything was tiered. Like there were 4 rides in the Magic Kingdom. You pick one of these 4, then you pick one of these 5, and then you could pick, but everything was, and I think that eventually Seven Dwarfs Mine Train will
drop into a
fall out of the premier tier.
Yeah.
Once now that Tiana is there and operating, and once Villains Land opens up, Tiana and the whatever the main attraction in Villains Land will be the premier rides, and maybe Space Mountain stays a premier
that Cars
ride.
ride might end up.
Yeah,
it might be,
Cars
I
ride.
keep forgetting about Cars.
It might be
coming
the
in,
Cars
too.
ride and the Villains ride as the 2 you have to pay to cut the line, and then everything else is in the regular
Yeah.
Fast Pass.
It's insane that when they first brought in an individual lightning lane, you had to pay for individual rides. It was Space Mountain that was the individual pay.
Yeah, it was Space Mountain and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Yeah, and it was. I remember it being like $7 to ride Space Mountain. I would do that.
That's a pretty good deal.
It's a good price.
I wonder if that's ever going to become a thing in this world of nickel and diming us with these experiences, that if you don't want to buy multipass, you can buy just one experience on the multipass for like $11 or something like
I
that.
wouldn't be opposed to them just getting rid of multipass in general.
And just being like, if you want to cut a line, individual lightning lanes only.
Right.
This ride is $8 to cut. That ride is $20 to cut.
Right.
And based off of demand.
Yeah.
So basically, it's the old
E-ticket system. It is the e-ticket system. It's a pay per ride.
Yeah.
You go into a car, you're just paying admission to get into the carnival, and you have to pay for all the rides.
That's
Or
true.
you pay for the line cut.
Yes.
Right.
You could wait on the line, but I think your lines would go down too, because I think less people would be paying for individual for like the lower rides. Probably not many people are going to be paying to cut Haunted Mansion.
But maybe they would if it's an hour-long wait. There you
Yeah,
go.
but I think people's priorities, like a family of 5 might pay to get on the Winnie the Pooh ride. A family with kids might pay to get, on Small World or Peter Pan.
Yeah, because sometimes it's just about getting on a volume of rides in a day. It's like, I'm in the Magic Kingdom. There's 20 rides here. Let's get on 10 of them. However, by any means necessary.
Try to make this day worth it.
Right.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes, so that's my list. Sean's done with his. Do you have anything else?
No, I'm all done. That was all my whole list.
Okay, great. Sean, you want to take us out? Oh, wait. You guys have time for a game?
He almost forgot the game.
I think we have time for a game.
It looks like we probably have time for a game.
Okay, I'll take it. Okay, guys, this is a return of our Mount Rushmouse series. in which we are going to pick our 4 icons of a certain thing at Walt Disney World.
This is my first time rushing a mouse.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Claps in the chat.
You could probably get a drop in of like, great job, recruits, or something.
I mean, I use Great Job Recruits all the time.
Because you got a wonderful imagination.
So this one is going to be specifically about dark rides. Now, a dark ride is not just any ride that is in the dark. A dark ride is a ride that moves guests through multiple scenes to create a narrative. It uses lighting and effects to take you out of just being in a building and into a story. For how I'm going to classify things, I'm also going to put the stipulation that it must physically move. The ride vehicle must move through scenes. So no simulator rides. So using this, Space Mountain is a ride in the dark, but it's not a dark ride because it's not taking you through show scenes. On the contrary, Small World is a dark ride because it moves you through story scenes, even though it's not actually physically dark in the room.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions?
No questions.
No questions. None. So, no questions?
Oh,
Oh, we
have
do
a
have a question. Okay, we got a question.
How many are in the 4?
Mount Rushmore is 4. There are 4 presidents on Mount Rushmore.
Hold on. Let's stop. The history nerd.
Yeah, I know.
The history
Yeah,
nerd.
I think he was doing it.
No, listen.
for
just
the,
asked how many spaces are on
I
Mount
can
Rushmore.
tell you all the presidents that are on it. I just can't count them.
Well, what are the who are the presidents on it?
Okay, so
Because I've been there.
Here we go.
I've been
yeah,
to Mount
it's
Rushmore.
George Washington.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to do it in order.
Wow.
All right,
Okay.
I'm going to do it in order of
okay.
when they were president.
Okay.
not-
Okay.
It's George Washington.
Yep.
It's Thomas Jefferson.
Yep.
It's Abraham Lincoln,
That's right.
and it's Theodore Roosevelt.
Now, Andrew,
That is exactly
how
right.
many is that?
That's 1 finger. That's 2 fingers. That's 3, 4 fingers.
So it's 4. Okay, let's start with Sean. Sean, what is your Mount Rushmouse of dark rides?
I have a list that I'm pretty happy with, in no particular order, but I'm gonna save the one that I think is the most controversial. It's not controversial.
Don't do that one first because I want to know if I have it.
It's not controversial.
No, do it
But
last. Controversy last.
I have the Haunted Mansion.
Yep.
I have.
Oh, you're going through all of them?
Yeah.
Oh,
You go
okay,
through all of
okay.
them.
I have Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I have Rise of the Resistance,
Yeah.
and a personal favorite of mine,
Okay.
a defunct ride,
Oh.
a ride no longer in operation.
Okay.
I have the Great Movie Ride.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I didn't even think of the great movie ride.
That is
as
a
dark
really
ride.
good one. And I do like how iconic it is in the fact that it had real actors,
Yeah.
and it had a lot of show scenes in the
And it was
took you a bunch of different places.
It was the ride that was. I mean, it was Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
it
a
is.
movie. It was a movie ride in a movie park, and it was always like I whenever I used to go, I would always get. We really have to go on this ride again? Yes.
Yeah.
A must ride if I was at Hollywood Studios. Loved the Great Movie Ride, and yeah, that's going
yeah.
up on my
I think
list.
it was definitely dated, but it was a gem. Like if it just got a refurb, people would still love it.
I was scared every time I rode it.
Oh my gosh, that alien scene!
Yeah.
That scared
Yes.
the crap out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And the scene of Indiana Jones where like all the smoke comes out and he's like stop,
Oh yes, the I mean, when I was a little kid, the guy that commandeers your train.
Yeah, the burglar,
Yes,
the
the guy
the
commandeers
robber, the
your-
burglar takes
Yeah.
over your
The
train.
burglar takes
Yeah.
over your train. Like it's so fun, and it did get a little dated and run down.
sure.
It definitely needed a deep refurb.
I think once they took away the person that was on the train,
The
that
guide.
was the guide. When they took away the guide,
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
it was going
because
downhill.
the person still came onto your car.
Yes.
but like it used to be that like they would like throw the guide off the car.
Yes.
Yes, he would save you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
oh
that-
my gosh. Yeah. It was definitely.
There were other choices I could have done. I could have used a couple other ideas, but I don't know. That one.
I don't think that was
that one.
controversial.
That one kept stinking out. That one kept sticking out to me. So Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, Rise of the Resistance, and rest in peace, the Great Movie Ride.
Disney
I love
needs to
that
scare
list.
you more. Disney
Yes,
needs more scare.
a little more scary.
Yeah.
Maybe not Alien Encounter scary, but
More scary.
I think you'll
scary.
get that in Villain's Land.
Great movie ride scary. That's what it
yeah,
was. That was a good scary.
Well, Bugs Life scary. The soon to be rest in peace.
Yeah.
Soon to be rest in peace. There are people that think the dinosaur ride is scary.
Yes.
Oh well, I mean, yeah, I guess if you it's more of a jump scare thing of like, oh,
Yeah.
T-Rex or is there.
Definitely not our dino. Go, go, go!
Okay, Andrew, how about your Mount
4.
Rushmouse?
So I had 6 in here.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, it's got to be 4.
It's got to be 4. Okay. So I have a list here of 4. And in my mind, the way I decide this list is I picked them not just because they were good, but for some reason, like there was some aspect of that ride that differentiated it from other dark rides. So I'm not saying these are the best dark rides. I'm putting them on a mantle because of how
Innovative, or they push.
Innovative.
That's
or
part of the
unique.
reason I picked the Great Movie Ride.
Yes.
It's not the best ride that's ever been in Disney World, but I think it fits
It's so
perfectly
unique.
Yeah.
what the description of a dark ride is, and also it just fit where it was.
Right.
Yeah, and it's super unique with the actors and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm agreeing with you on Pirates because I feel like Pirates is so iconic and it's one of the first. It is the first.
The
boat ride.
Boat ride, yeah.
And it's the birth of combining, like, there's the drop, it's a little thrilling, and there's
Yep.
a lot of that, like the scale of so many animatronics. It really sets a tone that is something that you see in a dark ride.
And that was one of the first rides that had a lot of animatronics.
It was the first ride with a lot of animatronics,
Yeah.
right? Because, I mean, Tiki Room had a lot of animatronics, but it was a show.
Right. And those were small.
And they're
Small
and they're
birds.
little, they're not people.
Right. Yep. And like I don't know where I heard this, but like that's where they figured out of how they could play a song, or maybe that was through. Never mind.
No,
Take
'cause-
that out.
I know, I think Small World probably
Yeah, it was
is the one
before
where they
that.
figured out the loop of the song.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going with Pirates as my number 1. So that was in the past. Now I'm coming right to the future. Well, not the future, but the present.
Back to the Future?
Back to the future.
That's a Universal property.
I'm going to Mickey's Runaway Railway.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm picking this because it's trackless, right? And I feel like this is a new direction that Disney's going to be going in. And they did a really good job with mixing screens, but also animatronics and set pieces.
And practical effects and
effects.
digital effects. Yes,
Yes.
I agree with that assessment. Minnie
Yeah.
and Mickey's. So that building is getting a lot of love.
that building is
true.
Yeah,
That's
wow.
true.
I do think it's a worthy replacement of the Great Movie Ride.
Yeah.
It's a really spectacular ride.
It is, and I think it's so much better than the mouse, Remy's.
That abhorrent ride in Epcot.
It's
I don't
so
think
much
it's
better than
abhorrent.
Remy's.
I just think it's. But we experienced it out of order.
Yeah.
Remy is a ride from 2014, and Minnie and Mickey's Runaway Railway is a ride from 2020.
Yeah.
But we got them in reverse. We got Minnie and Mickey in 2020, and then we got Remy in 2022. So we're just all out of whack with how we perceive. Like, Remy came first.
Yeah.
So,
it's
like-
the original trackless ride,
Notice
right? No.
the original trackless is in Tokyo Disneyland. It's the Winnie the Pooh ride in Tokyo Disneyland, and it is supposed to be spectacular.
Everything in Tokyo Disneyland.
I
is
know.
spectacular. We need to do a
The
corporate retreat
second
to
Disney
Tokyo
corporate
Disneyland.
retreat is going to be at
We need a few
Tokyo.
more subscribers. Only a few more. To
a few more 5-star reviews.
fund the trip to Tokyo.
Okay, my third, because I'm only halfway done. My third, I'm going all the way back to the beginning of Magic
Time?
Kingdom.
Oh.
Snow White's Scary Adventure.
Oh, Scary. You're bringing Scary back.
I really think that Disney World needs more scary. And the fact that they had to like
Make the ride less scary.
and that it was called Snow White's Adventure, and then they had to put the word scary in it so that people would know that it was scary because like kids were coming out crying and everything like that. That was just like a pretty awesome dark ride that I don't know, scared a lot of kids. So
Yeah. And it was a version of that classic. It's called the pretzel style. It's just the of like those with the tight turns, like Mr. Toad and
Yes.
Pinocchio in Disneyland and
Winnie the Pooh.
Well, yeah, Winnie the Pooh is still on that system. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, and then you got my fourth one was Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and the reason why, but only the Magic Kingdom one that had the dual track,
Double tracks.
the double track where you thought you were going to hit each other as you started out. Right, that was really cool. And the only
Wait,
ride.
that's another scary ride because you go to hell in that ride.
I was about to say, it's the only ride in Disney where you die. You die and go to hell. That's amazing that Disney did that. Like, I want them to do that again. I want
to die again?
I want to die and go to hell.
I want Disney to get scary again.
Okay,
Make Disney scary again.
I like the petition. I like it. I'm gonna share my list, and the first version of my list really mirrored Sean a lot. I am going to highlight Haunted Mansion for the tricks that it pulls. Pirates existed in Disneyland first, and I think Haunted Mansion is one of the ones that translated better to Disney World than Disneyland, and Pirates in Disneyland is insane because it's longer and whatever. Like, it's just unbelievable ride. But I'm going to highlight Haunted Mansion on this. I'm going to highlight what I define as maybe the best singular ride experience Disney's ever done, Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah.
If you've never been on it, don't watch anything about it. Just go on it and like go for just the craziest ride.
But also know that it's a dark ride, so it's not, I feel like people sometimes go on it expecting...
It's not it's not like
It's not
a
it's
mega
not
thrill
necessarily a
ride.
thrill- yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
you're so inserted in the story in a
You've
way.
never been more immersed in the world and in the story than you are on this ride.
Yes, it is by far the most immersive experience Disney's ever done, and I hope they can top it.
I was gonna say, I
in
look forward
Villains
to them
Land.
topping it. Yeah.
I hope they can top it in Villains Land. Next one. Now I'm going to start to differ from you guys. Tower of Terror.
Whoa, wait a second.
You move forward.
I don't think...
Your ride train goes up and down and forward.
But that's a completely... It's a drop ride. There's got to be another name
There is
for that.
There is a dark. You go up an elevator. You move forward.
I feel
through
like
a show scene.
that's the only part that's the dark ride.
Through a show scene.
I think
it tells a story. The whole ride tells a story, and then there's a fantastic drop sequence at the end of it.
I think this walks the line perfectly enough that I don't feel the need to criticize the decision. I think it's right there.
Oh, I found the line. But maybe I'm going to step over the line with my next one.
I think I know what your next one is, and I think this one more stepped over the line than that one.
Well, if you...
Please, Tom, write in and tell him he's wrong.
Brian,
Sam,
Elise, Emily.
Okay now, boys, if you just stop carrying on like, we just might dedicate this next song to y'all.
The last one on my list, and I know this one's controversial, but I'm ready to defend it. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. I know it's a roller coaster. I know it's an in the dark roller coaster, and I started this off with Space Mountain is a ride in the dark, not a dark ride.
Right.
And now I am picking a roller coaster that's in the dark. But there's a definitive closing scene, a definitive opening scene, and while you're on there's a battle with the guy, the big bad guy.
I don't remember his name.
The big Colossus looking guy or whatever it is. I don't know what the name of it
Let's
is.
call him Colossus.
Yeah, whatever. It's not. But and then the cosmic generator, like you're trying to rescue the cosmic generator, you see the ships, you're getting whipped around planets and stuff. It's a definitive show scene. I know it's a thrilling ride as well, but it is for sure moving you through show scenes plural and immersing you in a story.
It is. So I agree with you in this.
It also amplifies the ride, because if that ride existed outside, without all the story around it, it would be a good roller coaster. It is an elite roller coaster because of all of the show elements around it, all the effects, the pre-show, the whole experience of it makes it an elite experience.
I think that what makes it that it can be a dual roller coaster and dark ride is
also,
that they turn you to
it's an Omni coaster, the very first
Yeah.
Omni coaster, where they control
Yeah.
the spin and they show you show scenes by spinning you towards them, just like the Haunted Mansion did.
Can we go back to Tower of Terror? It's just not a dark ride.
It is 100% a dark ride.
It's not a dark
I
ride.
think Tower of Terror is more a dark ride than Guardians.
I agree.
I don't think Guardians.
I agree with
I don't
his
think
assessment.
Guardians of the Galaxy is remotely a dark ride. I think we are stretching. We are stretching our
I mean, I could always default back to Pirates as being in, but
we're
I
stretching
don't.
our definition of a dark ride.
Well, if I
just
broke it
enough.
If I broke the definition, guys, let me know. But I'm going to stick with the controversial. And my 4: Haunted Mansion, Rise of the Resistance, Tower of Terror, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind.
Yeah.
I'll put an asterisk on it. We can ask the fans. We can ask the people that know better.
I think we should ask. I think.
Oh, we need to
yes.
ask the fans.
Yes. We need
But
a
I
poll.
stand by it. I stand by my decision to include it on this because I think by this definition, by my own slanted definition, that this
By the
is
definition
included.
that I specifically created.
I don't know. Because just in the sense of,
I was a little rascally, wasn't I?
you were. I feel like you went against the spirit of what the Mount Rushmouse was supposed to be.
No, that was the spirit of it. I think it's. It's a dark ride.
He picked 4 things. That's really
I
the
picked.
spirit.
I
of
picked
the,
4
of
dark
the
rides.
activity.
I picked 4 dark rides. One is questionable.
And they are all elite in their
Here's the
own
thing.
way. In their
If
way.
it's a problem, I am willing to possibly acquiesce on Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think
Tower of Terror is 100%.
I think we need him to issue a formal apology.
Who?
JJ.
If the fans agree that my list is invalid,
Yeah.
then I will issue an apology and amend my list and put Pirates in there instead of Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is a dark ride.
So can I tell you, and this goes out to the fans, when you send us in your bracket, when you send us in your bracket, please tell us whether or not you think JJ's list is valid. And if it's not valid, which ride is not valid? Is it Guardians of the Galaxy or Tower of Terror? And if you already sent us your bracket, please just email us anyway telling us that JJ's list is not valid. But please
Tell them it's valid. Just say it's valid. It's valid.
And just to remind our listeners, that next month, which is the month of
Mouse.
the month of Mouse,
AKA
right?
March.
The 3rd month of the year, we're going to have a special series going on called Mouse Madness. We put together 64 Disney World bars, and they're going head to head in an epic bracket showdown to determine the ultimate drinking spot at Walt Disney World. We've stacked 4 categories, 4 regions: park bars versus resort bars versus Disney Spring bars and restaurant bars. And we're going to be debating and voting, and you guys, the listeners, are going to have a vote in each matchup to see which bar is the best bar.
And if you have some of the best brackets, we've got a couple hats and a couple beanies that we can give away to the people that do the best.
Yeah, so head to the show notes, click on episode details, or go to Instagram, find the link to the bracket. You'll see the link to the bracket there. Download it, fill it in, and email it back to us. And where can they email it to, Sean?
You might hear in just a minute.
ReedyGeeks@gmail.com. ReedyGeeks@gmail.com. All right, Sean, you want to take us out?
Did you really just do that? That's a whole part of my thing.
Okay, Sean, want to take us out?
Thanks for listening to another episode of the ReedyGeeks podcast. Like, rate, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Any questions, comments, concerns, future nicknames, or topics, email us at ReedyGeeks@gmail.com. Any brackets for the Mouse Madness Bar Extravaganza, email us at ReedyGeeks@gmail.com. Check us out on all our socials at ReedyGeeks, and we'll see you next time.
week's Honest Send-Off comes courtesy of Hannibal from Chicago. If you have an honest send-off that you want played at the end of one of our episodes, please submit an audio clip to us via our email address, ReedyGeeks@gmail.com. ReedyGeeks, a Walt Disney World podcast, is hosted and executive produced by Andrew Shopey, Sean Murphy, and JJ Hefner. Music and audio engineering by JJ Hefner.
Bon voyage.